Hi, I'm Millie. I'm autistic and ADHD and transgender and a person who uses drugs. And the reason I'm having extra labels today is because, unfortunately, in our society, like a lot of those things associated with those, cause me to feel a lot of shame. Like, unfortunately, that's probably one of my most felt emotions, but this video is actually for No Shame November. So my idea here is to reframe some of that shame. So hopefully it will be a good message. So I'll be talking about shame, but trying to reframe some of the ways that I feel shame related to those things. So this is for No Shame November. So, after just many years of learning the hard way and just going through some awful things and just surviving and continuing on, and but still also having the privilege and more recently having a really good support system with counseling and occupational therapy and stuff. And I just wanted to pass on some of the lessons I've learned over the years. I have chapter markers in the description box below. So if you want to skip around or find certain parts later, you can check out the chapter markers in the description. So some of my sources of shame, like I shouldn't have to be this way, but unfortunately our society being neurodivergent, so ADHD and autism, and comes with that as being an outsider. And there's this misunderstanding, especially about autism, that people think we don't care about fitting in or something, but it's like everybody still needs some level of human connection to survive. And like I personally do want social connections with people, and I need that to some degree. And there's huge consequences in our culture to not fitting in, or any human culture really. And there's real links to the negative mental health effects that this causes by, being marginalized and ostracized. Another source of shame in the past, still sometimes to this day, but I'm slowly getting over it, is my voice. It makes it hard to do these videos, like edit them and listen to my voice for hours on end. I felt shame about having a stereotypically more masculine voice, so vocal dysphoria related to being transgender, and I wanted to feminize my voice as much as possible, the cultural binary of what we expect that to be. And I did do work on my voice to feminize, but and I was still disappointed, but what really helped me in the end was that when I realized I was non-binary, then that just gave me, that freed me from feeling like I had to get to, this opposite end of whatever we've constructed gender to mean about what a feminine voice is, right? So I am more accepting of just, it is what it is now. I had shame because of special interests or intense interests in the past, like just from, feeling like info dumping shouldn't be a bad thing, like just wanting to, I have this desire just to tell people, I'm so excited about something, it's so sad to me. The kids especially would be so excited to something and have their passion extinguished because people just get bored by what they're talking about, or they get that negative association like I've had in the past, being weird for being too into a very specific subject, or some of the things I was really interested in early on when I was younger, kind of starting in junior high and stuff, is like psychedelics and stuff. So it was a really taboo subject at the time. And so that felt kind of shameful, like I had to hide it, even though I was learning all this kind of science and psychology behind it. And sometimes I feel like I get that feeling people are just turning off when I'm talking because I feel like I'm being boring or being seen as obsessive and wasting time. And but the reframe is like I can find so much joy in learning, and because that learning is actually fun, I actually retain that knowledge a lot better. So that's why I can learn a lot. And then I can take the passion of a special interest and make a fulfilling hobby, or potentially even feed that into a job or a business. And I really never ever get bored because of endless things I want to learn about and projects I want to work on. Substances and autism and ADHD is something I want to make a whole video on, and I will, because it's such a huge topic, but that's something I've felt some of the most shame about in the past. In our society is seen as weak and giving up, or, taking the easy route and escaping and feeling immoral about it and stuff. But quickly, like the reframe is that simply put, I've needed those things on and off in periods to cope and to survive and to get through these sensory issues and like extreme discomfort day to day and extreme anxiety. And and they just allowed me to have a better quality of life. They allowed me to participate in society more, and just especially like I just wouldn't be able to be as creative and do a lot of the things that I find are fun, if I'm just in this state of discomfort and anxiety constantly, Like you can imagine if if you're recovering from surgery and you're uncomfortable or broke a bone or something, it's like, or you're sick with the flu, it's like, you just can't do all the things. You can't have, it's hard to have fun doing anything or just really get anything done. So like imagine that just constant state of discomfort, right? Like even the things that normally would be fun, I just have to force myself to try and do. And it sucks when you don't get enjoyment out of them. So now I can actually have fun doing the things that should be fun. I've had lots of shame related to stimming in the past. I'm still trying to work all over that. Like it still feels like there's times when I want to flap my hands or something and it just feels embarrassing, even though it shouldn't be. And, in the past, like right now, I'm kind of rubbing my fabric of my dress because it's a nice rough texture, and that helps calm me down because I'm still nervous doing these videos, even though I'm in my own apartment. But I remember sometimes as a kid just being lost in a moment of feeling a texture, like of some wood on a table or something, and then kids just being like, "What are you doing?" And making fun of me because of that, and then that just gives it that shame association, and then stop me from doing something that I need to, again, like regulate my anxiety and emotional state and stuff, and also just a lot of like feeling like I'm being distracting or being weird if I'm fidgeting or doing other self-regulating things like humming or like bouncing on springy chairs and stuff like that. The reframe of that is like those having textures or looking at sparkly lights or noodling around on the keyboard on a synthesizer patch, right? Like listening to new sounds is just endlessly fascinating and just relaxing. And stimming is healthy and like I was saying, just helps with my mental health and mitigate some anxiety and stuff. And if I'm stimming or fidgeting when I'm with people, it's like it really means, somebody's talking. It's like I can actually pay attention better, and I can pay attention better, even though people end up thinking the opposite is true. But really, if I can do something in the meantime, I'm actually listening better. Another thing that's been source of a lot of shame is how I show empathy as an autistic person. Like it is so differently. Like there's this misconception, like a real dangerous misconception about autistic people that we lack empathy, which is absolutely not true. Like of all the people I know, and I know myself, there's some of the most empathetic people I know. It's just expressed differently. So the way I show empathy, which seems to be a bit more common on autistics, is, and I've had to learn both ways, like I tried to learn, and this ends up being masking, like hiding an autistic trait. So, and like because of shame and because of empathy, like I want the person to be able to feel it. So I try to learn how to demonstrate it in a more holistic, like non-autistic way. But really my innate autistic way of demonstrating empathy was when somebody tells me something that happened to them, I say something that's similar that happened to me. And unfortunately, like people sometimes take this as, like what I'm not trying to one up you. I'm just trying to show that I've been through something similar and that I do empathize. Autistic people are often actually hyper empathetic, and we just show it differently.
My most recent feelings of shame are associated with being a part-time AAC user. I am learning how to use text-to-speech and cards to communicate. Doing this in public, I felt like I was wasting people's time. Even now I feel like I need to edit out the parts where I am typing. I felt like it didn't deserve the extra effort it put into their part to listen. The reframe is that I need this to communicate. Before, there were times when I couldn't speak out loud or could not communicate clearly. The effort to speak out loud would overload me and cause a shutdown. I actually made my conversations with people less stressful and more meaningful. Also, I am really the one who has to put in the most extra effort by typing everything.
And the last source of shame that I'm going to talk about today, and this is the most fundamental and important one to me, and the most devastating in a long time, is just shame of being myself and not masking being autistic. You know, even for this video, I feel like I have to mask some degree to get the communication through. Like maybe I don't have to, but I still have that feeling that I'm working through that constant struggle with those thoughts. Like the messaging in our culture is to be yourself. You know, it's important to be yourself, and I've been open about being autistic and have been masking less over time. So masking is hiding autistic traits like hiding stimming or avoiding eye contact. But as I said earlier, masking is now shown to be detrimental to our mental health. So increases things like exhaustion, depression, increased chance of shutdowns and meltdowns and that kind of thing. You would think that not making eye contact or being uncomfortable with small talk or being direct or stimming aren't that impactful, but they really are. I often have people being short with me or talking to me like I'm a child, even if it's supposed to be their job to help me. So yeah, it really affects my ability to have community, friends, work, earn money, like access the services and healthcare that I need to live. And these kind of things are being linked now to autistic people having shorter lifespans, right? Which is horrible. So it has this real effect on our lives. So this often ends up feeling like a trade-off of hiding who I am so that other people are more comfortable around me, but then hating myself for not knowing who I am. Or being authentic and masking less and liking and knowing myself a lot more, but then losing relationships and job opportunities. Autism does not make me a bad person, does not make anybody a bad person. And a large part of my disability comes from lack of support and being marginalized in our society. Being ostracized is one of the main reasons I've ended up being depressed or even having thoughts of suicide in the past. So everybody needs to feel accepted and understood, right? Denying someone a job or volunteer position or education just because they can't make small talk or can't make eye contact or because they fidget or have sensory issues is really ableist. It's saying that the quote unquote normal way is the right way and the good way, when really this way is just different. It's not bad. There are people in my life that are more open-minded or are good allies or have lived experience, and they can see that I'm empathetic and caring and work hard, and it's just painful when you're vulnerable and lack agency. So I just want to say, please accept and appreciate autistic and other neurodivergent people for who we are and cultivate our strengths rather than focusing on deficits and weaknesses. Doing this can literally save lives. I don't think that's an exaggeration. And at the very least, it would be improving someone's quality of life immensely. So because of shame, so much of my life up to this point, I've had to mourn lost opportunities and experiences from childhood and young adulthood. So many things I was passionate about or were part of my self-expression were tied into shame. So I felt like I couldn't pursue them fully, or I had to hide part of myself and change to have approval from those around me. And I'm just starting to get some of that experience back now, finally. And I want people to watch this, and hopefully it lessens your feelings of shame, and especially younger people watching. Unfortunately, a lot of us, neurodivergent people with resulting mental health issues and trauma and transgender people and all this kind of stuff, a lot of us don't even make it through our 20s because of extreme depression and anxiety related to shame. But the reality is it's still an ableist world and still a judgmental world, and people still lack empathy and understanding. But hopefully this helps you understand and realize that you're not a bad person. I don't want you to miss out on feeling safe and comfortable and doing things you love because of shame like I did. And you shouldn't have to wait till you're 40 and have complex trauma because of a lifetime of learning the hard way and all the scars that that causes. I also don't want people to watch us and be like, wow, they have things figured out. I have probably 100 more examples of shame that I could make videos of, and I still feel shame every day, especially when I wake up in the morning. But yeah, I'm learning slowly how to do this reframing, and it's making a difference in my self-acceptance for sure. And I want to learn from y'all as well. Like, do you have examples of shame and how you've overcome it or learned to reframe it? You can put those in the comments below, and I will read every single one of them. I love learning from other people. If you want to watch more videos of my experience of being autistic and ADHD and other related things, then you can subscribe to my channel. And there's lots more other videos for you to check out as well. And there'll be new ones coming in the future. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye.